Hey everybody, so we are here today to talk about privileged access management inside of the ScreenConnect product. We are going to be doing a demo for those of you that maybe haven't seen it or have only seen part of it, and then we'll be talking about what is coming up in the next release in 25.7. I am Caitlin Barnes. I am a senior product manager for privileged access, and I work also with the ScreenConnect product. And with me here today is Nate.
Hello, Nate Warwick here. I am a solution strategist for ScreenConnect and for ScreenConnect Privileged Access. So today we're going to be talking about ScreenConnect Privileged Access, which is built around the security concept, the principles of least privileged access. So it's really just saying no matter what your role in the company is, you're going to get a level of access so you can complete your job and no more than that. So our two main features here are going to be for technicians. So instead of having a bunch of admin passwords and worrying about who has access to those, how often they're rotated, we thought what's better than needing to manage a bunch of passwords is not needing one at all. So this feature will allow a technician to connect to a remote machine. Instead of needing those admin credentials, they can spin up a temporary one-time use admin. So that means they don't need to worry about credentials at all. So being a manager of those people, those technicians, right, you don't have to worry about who has access if they're leaving with passwords, because on a day-to-day use, your technicians will just be using this ephemeral local admin account. And as soon as they sign on to that, that's immediately disabled. So the idea there is day-to-day use. They can use this ephemeral local admin, and then you can truly keep your break glass accounts for an emergency. So the other half is for elevations in the UAC, right? So we know if we take away a user's admin credentials, then they'll get stuck on the UAC prompt. And that traditionally turns into a phone call, a ticket, or some sort of work for your team. So if there's things you already trust, or applications you know, and you do trust those, now instead of them calling, making a ticket when they get stuck on the UAC, they can actually request that elevation right from the UAC. So you can take it a step further. You can either do a one-off and say, all right, I trust this, here's your request. Or you can automate rules that say, as long as these conditions are met, then I'll never have to receive a phone call or a ticket on that because I already trust this program and I have these rules in place. So the idea there is to reduce ticket volume and work stoppages. So you have to think if a user's hitting the UAC, now they're calling, they're making that ticket, they're calling the help desk. That's also stopping them from doing their work, right? So we can reduce the ticket volume on the technician side and also reduce those work stoppages. And this is also a huge prerequisite for cyber insurance, keeping your premiums manageable there. All right, so now we're going to look how privileged access will work in your instance. You're looking at my instance right now, which is sales.screenconnect.com. And I am going to authenticate as a user in my instance. So when we're talking about ScreenConnect Privileged Access, some of you might be familiar, you might be ScreenConnect partners already. Some of you might already be using Privileged Access on top. But when we're talking about this feature, we're going to focus on access sessions, right? So we'll not work for support or meeting. So we'll really focus on access sessions. As you probably know, once you install the access agent, it does run as system level admin. So it's already very powerful. When we add PAM or privileged access on top of that, it should make your life easier and keep your environment more secure. So we'll look at specifically a couple of things here. One is the privileged access extension. So when you first get started, we would go into the extension marketplace and we can search it. Privileged access, so you'll go ahead and install that if you're brand new. Once that's installed, you'll get this nice little privileged access tab under admin, and you'll notice the privileged access shield under your access under a specific endpoint right in the middle here. So privileged access shield is where we have all of our notifications come in, either for that ephemeral local admin logon or for those elevation requests. Now, another new feature here, new-ish, I should say, is the user tab. So the user tab will let you easily remove an admin permission from an existing account. So we talked to a lot of partners, maybe you've had a customer or somebody that it was just easier to make them an admin. Now, because we can automate so many things here, we don't need to give them a full-blown admin account. So if we need to remove that, again, user tab here, single click will remove it. So we'll focus here on the privileged access tab, and we'll go ahead and tee up a couple examples here. So the first one we'll do is an elevation request from an unprivileged user. So I'm going to sign in as an unprivileged user here. Once we get logged in, we will tee up an elevation event. So ScreenConnect is looking for the event of a UAC. And you can hit that anyway. So, run as admin, a new installation, whatever it is, that's what we're going to be looking for here. So if I hit the UAC prompt, now I can have a customized message here. And this would be the default credential option for the UAC. So I still have all my traditional choices. If you needed to use that break glass account, it would still be in here. But I have specific instructions that I've given. So this will request it in. When I have a reason, I force them to put in that reason, and then they hit request. So at this point, if you are connected to them via ScreenConnect and you have the permission in your account, you can simply approve it right through the host client. But a lot of times, right, your users are going to hit the UAC for a variety of different things, and you're likely not going to be connected. So in this case, we can do an action center. This will deep link you right to the request. Even if you're on a different machine, it'll still deep link you right there. And we also have a Slack and a Teams integration. So at this point, I know the request is from this machine. I still have all the machine information under general. So from ScreenConnect. Visually looking at this, Microsoft Management Console is what is requesting that elevation. We have a VirusTotal integration. This is third modal over on the right. This will open up a new tab for you. It'll run it through all these security vendors. 0 is a perfect score. It's distributed by Microsoft. So this is kind of a third-party set of eyes on that file, lets you know it's trusted. I feel good about this, so I'm going to go ahead and approve that request. So I've approved the request. The UAC prompt goes away in this example, and they can run computer management elevated. So you can think of things here, Adobe, Reader, QuickBooks, printer drivers, things that you already trust, but they make it hard because the UAC will kind of block the user from just doing that simple upgrade, reinstall, whatever it is. So that would be an example of a one-off. The request comes in, I as the technician deal with it, and I can go about my day. But if it's a file that I already trust and I don't want to do this at all, I can now automate a rule. So the second modal right in the middle will pull up my rule creation UI. And my rule creation will really be based on the conditions. So the conditions are the file itself. So program name, publisher, thumbprint, path. Then we have the user, the group that user is in. And then we have machine, company, department, device type, ScreenConnect Privileged Access. These are all things I have on my build installer, so custom properties. Location, department, device type, ScreenConnect Privileged Access. It's also what I have on my start menu here. So your conditions on these rules are going to be based on your instance. So everybody's conditions are going to be unique to their instance and just a little bit different as well. So I'm going to show all the conditions here. And the more conditions you add, the more targeted that rule becomes. So if you wanted to make a very broad rule, like everybody in the company and everybody you support can update, Adobe Reader, a printer driver, maybe you just want the name and the thumbprint. So it's checking those two conditions. After that, it's going to do that elevation automatically for you. But if I wanted to do, for this example, Microsoft Management Console, and I only want to do it for this particular user and on the machine, so they have to be on this particular machine and logged in, I could add those conditions. So now I'm taking that large rule and I'm really targeting the audience for it. So once our conditions are met, our rule will take action, and it can be auto elevate, where the guest and the unprivileged user doesn't have to do a thing, right? It's just going to work for them. They'll see the UAC for possibly just a split second, and then it'll work. Auto approve will throw a little bit of a speed bump there because they will have to put in a reason. So a lot of partners like that reason captured. And you'll notice again, auto elevate, there's no reason code. auto approve, there is a reason code. So you can think of that as maybe an additional layer, almost like a password for that particular elevation. And then we can also have these rules expire. So we can do 4 hours all the way up to 7 days. And then we'll make an auto elevate rule here. We'll have it expire. This is actually writing an automation, or formally a trigger for you, just so you can see what it is. You don't have to do that. The nice rule creation UI will do that and write it for you. So let's go ahead and create this. Once you create the rule, you do not have to reinstall the agent. So this is event-based, and again, that event it's looking for is UAC elevation. So at this time, it just was automatic. Me being the unprivileged user, I did not have to call the help desk. I didn't have to make a ticket. And then the technicians didn't have to do anything, right? So there's usually pretty good ROI on this side because you are saving so much time, and just those little tiny UAC elevations add up. So we think it's about 3 to 5 minutes per elevation. So you can say, however many times those are happening, that's going to save you all of those minutes. So great ROI on that side. So now we'll take a look at the other side here, which is that ephemeral local admin logon. And for this, we'll need to go to the Windows lock screen, or the logon screen. So we'll sign out of this account. And from this point of view, I will be the technician, right? So I'm a technician. My manager has not given me any admin credentials, but I need to do admin work on this remote machine. So I connect to it like normal via ScreenConnect. And then from the logon screen, I'll have this new option. So now it's going to request passwordless administrative logon from your administrator. Again, I'm forcing them to put in a reason. That will be something you can decide. And now, if I do have the permissions in my account, I can simply approve through the host client. So very easy workflow. I would argue that's easier than even copying, pasting a password or injecting that credential somehow, because I can approve it immediately. Now, if I was a junior technician and I had to wait for that approval to be done by somebody else, again, they could get a Slack or a Teams notification, or they could come in the Action Center here, let's look at a different machine, and then this will deep link me right there. So at this point, I can approve either from the ScreenConnect instance, or I'll show you how to do it in the host client. I approve it now, and this is spinning up a brand new ephemeral local admin account with a brand new password. That password is not displayed anywhere, so I don't need to retain it. I don't need to know it. And as soon as I sign out of this account, this is going to be immediately disabled, and then as a default deleted off the machine in 30 days. So if we go and we look in the users here, we should see at least the temp admin account that I'm in right now. And there it is. So temp admin and a GUID behind it is the default way it spins up. I've added sales as a prefix. Most of our partners will add their own company name just so they can track these, but everything will be reported on in ScreenConnect, and then you'll also have this on the remote machine. So best practice here is when you're done to go ahead and sign out. Once I sign out, this account is immediately disabled, and then it'll be in that user folder for 30 days, and then it'll be automatically deleted off the machine. So if I needed to get right back in as an admin again, it would be just as easy to go through that process, put in my reason, self-approve, and now I'm in as an admin. Once again, I don't need to know any of these credentials. It is spinning up a brand new account with a brand new password each and every time. So we went through the steps for two of the main features here, and now we'll take a look at the extension. So under admin and then privileged access, we'll first look at this dashboard. So the dashboard is handy. It's going to tell you how often you and the team are using those two features, the assigned endpoints. We even have a session group that's created with all local admins, so that'll be automatic for you. You have all your rules here. The rules are saved under the automations tab. We have our manual approvals versus your automated rules. And then we also have the most handy piece of information here is top elevation responses by application. So if you see something coming up often, in this list here, it's probably time to automate a rule for it so you don't have to deal with it so often. So this will give you kind of an overview, what's hitting the UAC, how you're using the tool. And then the second tab, recent requests, will be just that. So aggregates all the requests from the last 7 days. So let's say I got busy, but I know last week I had somebody that was requesting management console elevation, or we could really search by anything here. So we could put in the program name. We could put in the username if we were trying to find that specific user, and this will go back a week. So you can tell, if you got busy the day of when the request came in, maybe you didn't have time to actually build the rule, you can still go back a week and you can pull up that rule creation UI. So it'll be very easy to go back in there. You'll have it all searchable, very easy to pull up this UI, and you can make your rules at a later date. Once you create those rules, you'll be audited from the last 30 days here. And we will see all of these rules saved under automations. So here's the one I just created. For the most part, I doubt any of you will need to go in here and change it, but some people do. It'll be there. You can go, I've even have the timestamp for the deletion. I could change that. I could change any of those conditions. So it's probably easier for a lot of you just to make a new rule and delete the old one. But if you are going to make any changes, I would highly recommend cloning it and then testing, make sure that works before you delete the old rule. As far as who gets to do the approvals, that will be done on a security role. So when you are first in ScreenConnect, you have users authenticate, all of them will get a security role. So by default, you're going to have administrator and host. Everything else will be a custom security role. And these permissions for privileged access can be scope permissions. So when we're talking about global permissions, if you do want a user to be able to create rules and kind of manage the privileged access, they will need to be an administrator, right? Because those rules are really powerful. They'll need to get to the admin tab to manage all that. So that'll be a global permission. But if you just want users to be able to self-approve them and approve for others, those can be scope permissions. Again, we're only talking about access sessions with privileged access, and these are our 2 permissions. So it's respond to elevation request and respond to admin logon. Those could either be by all access sessions, or you could get very granular and do those by session group. So you can really target the audience that gets to do these elevation requests and approve those. And you can get very granular with both of those permissions. So I've seen some junior technicians that, they can still request that admin logon, but they won't be able to approve themselves. So again, that can all go through a Slack and a Teams notification, or it'll be notified under the Action Center right here in your ScreenConnect instance. So now we'll look at the privileged access settings. So we saw the dashboard, we saw the recent requests, but the settings will determine what endpoints get to use these 2 features. Right, so your default, when you first start using PAM, it's only going to show a session with a host connected. So that means to get that visible, somebody would have to be connected to that machine via ScreenConnect, but your admins can go in here and change that. So, if you do have a specific session group you'd like to use, maybe you have a PAM enabled machines group, you just want to throw everything in there, and that PAM is on. Or it could be, you're rolling this out, you want to test it with a couple groups first or a group, you can assign it, and then most partners will put it on all sessions because that covers their whole user base anytime they hit the UAC. So that is the first one. Where do we want to make it visible? The second one is the default credential provider. So I would say yes, no matter where you make those visible or how, you'd always want this to be the default credential provider. So that would really knock it to the top of the UAC. It'll kind of force your users to put in that reason and do the request instead of just calling and saying, help me in that help desk phone call or ticket. The third one is, do you want to make that reason field visible? And then the fourth one is, do you want to require them to put in a reason? So more look and feel. A lot of partners like to have that reason captured each and every time. And then the same exact thing for our administrative logon feature. Where do we want to make it visible? Again, your default is sessions with hosts connected, and most partners leave it there, right? Because more than likely it's somebody on your side that needs to be the admin and not the person just working on that computer. So why make it visible all the time? You're going to be connected with ScreenConnect anyways. But if you want to change that, you could do it by specific group, or you could put it on all sessions and it'll just be visible all the time. The default credential provider, again, it'll kind of knock it to the top of the list there. Sessions with host connected is going to be your default. And then do you want a reason field, and do you want to require them to use that reason field? So our security role determines who can actually do the approvals for themselves and others. And then the settings under privileged access will determine the endpoints, the actual machines that you would like to use it on. So we do have reporting here. If you have this reports tab, it will be a couple of them that are customized just for privileged access. So all of your elevation events are captured. All of your administrative logon events are captured. And we even have applications with requested elevation. So similar to what you saw on the dashboard there, we have a full report on that. So if you see something coming up often in that report or on the dashboard, it's probably time to create a rule on that. All right, and now we will send it over to Caitlin to show us what's new, exciting in privileged access.
All right, thanks, Nate. So first, I'm going to talk a little bit about if you are watching this as a non-PAM partner, as somebody who is hopefully going to come on board with us in 25.7. We're currently at about, you're probably on 25.5 or 25.6. So in 25.7, as a non-PAM partner, you will start to see a PAM icon in your left navigation. As a non-PAM partner, you'll have two tiles to see here. Basically, the first one is just going to be, like Nate was saying, top elevations. So anytime you hit UAC as an endpoint, we're going to report those programs here. Because you're not currently a PAM partner, you don't have access to elevations, you can't do all the cool fun stuff that Nate just showed, but you do want to start to get information about what people are doing in your environment. Do I need PAM? Are people hitting UAC enough that I find that this is useful? And we expect the answer to be yes, but this helps you kind of drill in to see what products are people requesting most often, and where you might see some vulnerabilities or places for improvement. We also have the local admin detected tile, which if you saw before was also on the PAM dashboard. And that's a core ScreenConnect function, but just helps you understand how many machines have a local admin detected, and if that number matches up with what you believe to be true in your environment. So then as already as a PAM partner in 25.6, you will have also seen your PAM tab appear. And so Nate showed the previous dashboard and the way that it currently looks, but we are moving as it moves to this higher elevation and up to the left navigation where you hopefully see it every day. We updated the way the dashboard looks and feels. So the same information for the most part is reported. It just looks a little bit nicer, hopefully a little bit easier to understand. We did include a run report feature for assigned endpoints. So this tile specifically tells you how many PAM licenses you're consuming. If you're on a limited license, or as opposed to a usage-based license, there's a lot of different ways you can purchase PAM. We can report that for you. You can run a report on it to say, are all the machines that have PAM on them, is that right? Is there something happening with my settings, or maybe I'm missing some machines? It's just to help you check. Local admins, we kind of already talked about. You'll have your manual versus rule approvals. We're really just trying to encourage a lot of rule approvals and making sure that you understand that how your business is using PAM. If they're doing a lot more manual approvals, you could probably save time with rules. So that's just what that tile is kind of showing you. And then, of course, probably the most important one here is what is happening with those elevation events. Obviously, the gray is still elevation not requested, aka elevation encountered. So this is just a UAC prompt. Nobody did anything. They didn't request elevation, or maybe they did, but no matter what, we hit UAC first. That's the first thing that happens in a PAM request. And then, what happened? So in this one, there was 2 cancellations, and in this one, there was actually a denial. So the first thing, the new thing that's coming is PAM actually in your left navigation. And as a PAM partner, you have an updated dashboard to take a look at. You'll also see that Nate showed recent requests on the admin page previously, and it has now been moved here to make it easier for you to manage PAM as it's coming in. The features haven't really changed here. You can still create your rule. You can still search. You can still see rules that were created in the last 30 days. It's just easier to access here. And you might be asking, why are we moving things? Why did we create a new PAM tab? Like, what are you thinking? The idea here is that we want to make PAM easier to find and easier to use, but we're also working on, it's likely going to be next year now, the idea of a tiered permissions for PAM. Right now, as non-PAM partners or PAM partners, to see PAM in your left navigation, you have to be an admin. Traditionally, PAM was almost always an admin feature. Everything that you did for PAM settings was on the admin page. So the plan is that long-term, we will create a tiered permission where maybe you allow people who are not administrators in your ScreenConnect instance access to the dashboard and the recents request tab. We're still kind of deciding how best we want to scope those permissions to keep everything secure. Maybe those tiered permissions, your PAM technician who's not an administrator may be able to suggest a rule, but not create it. Because traditionally, creating a trigger and automation in ScreenConnect has always been an admin function. But that's the plan. We're moving PAM into a place where you can hopefully manage it all from one place in ScreenConnect. And then also, to have multiple people be able to take action on PAM requests, so it's not left to the 1, 2, 3 ScreenConnect admins that you have. And then as we move over here, so you will see in the short term, probably a little bit of duplication. Recent requests is also still in the privileged access tab. Some of that is making sure that all license types can see everything as we transition. So there may be a little bit of a duplicate. You may see dashboards for a little bit on both places. The information is the same. It's coming from the same place. It's just, us trying to migrate everyone successfully. The other thing that we added, though, in 25.7 is the rule management tab. So Nate showed you before what it looked like to create a PAM rule and then have it show up on the automations tab. We've heard from a lot of partners that that's not super helpful because that's the same place that any ScreenConnect trigger automation is happening. That list is kind of just everything that can happen inside your instance. So you're sending Teams events, webhooks, you're sending emails, you're sending anything that you do for an automation already in ScreenConnect was getting mixed in with the privileged access rules as well. So we broke those out and put them on a second place. Right now, they're in both places. You will see these rules on the automations page, but with the privileged access rule management tab, we're making it a lot easier. So you can easily identify what action is this rule doing. It's doing an auto elevate, it's doing an auto deny. What product are we talking about? What user are we talking about? We have the full name of it, which PAM automatically gives you. I know a lot of partners will also change that to fit their own nomenclature. So you'll see whatever you change that rule to in the rule dialog. And then also the rule conditions itself. So maybe you change the name to, this is Sam's rule. This is the rule we always give Sam. I don't know, I just made that up. But we also will show you application name always, user always, and then whether or not it expires. So we do have the ability to have PAM rules expire. That's part of that rule modal. And you can search by that as well. So it's a little easier than automations. This is built for PAM rules and rule management. So you'll see that you can sort by names, you can sort by whether or not it's enabled, and you can sort by all of your expired rules as well. Then you can also filter down into the different action types if you need. And then just like a regular old triggers page or automations page, you can just enable and disable just like that. Another thing that we added that we heard about from partners was the ability to generate a report of all existing PAM rules. Hey, it's great that I can create these rules, but I need a place to look at them. Or, hey, the customer needs to know what rules I have in place so they know what I'm auto allowing, what I'm auto denying. It is a CSV report. We'd love to hear back if there are other ways that information could be formatted, but at least you have an exhaustive list of every rule in your environment. So that's the new things that we kind of rolled out for 25.7. The idea is really just, like I said, improving all the things that we heard about from partners, about the way that PAM is used, making it easier, making it more intuitive, easier to find. And we're really excited to bring this to IT Nation and to talk to you guys about it. So that's really where we're at least for now. I know I've had a lot of requests about offline mode. What are the things that we're going to do with PAM? And we have a lot of stuff planned for 2026. Very excited about kind of moving PAM forward, and then also, more discoverability for partners that aren't using it yet. We'd love to see people leveraging this. As Nate was saying, cyber insurance is starting to maybe not require, but strongly request or strongly suggest that you have additional things in place. We talk to partners all the time that are just using laps, just using password rotation, and it potentially is time to move on to the next phase. And we'd like to be able to do that, with ScreenConnect, with things you already have, an agent already dropped, and we'll just continue to keep making the product better. It's 3 years old now, and we're in no way done with it. All right, so that's basically what we have rocking right now. At this point, I guess we're just going to sign off. Hopefully you found something new if you're already a PAM partner, or if you're not a PAM partner, hopefully you'll be interested in checking us out. And with that, I think we're good. Thank you very much for watching today. Nate, do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, if you're a ScreenConnect partner or a ConnectWise partner, reach out to sales, your account manager. If they know how to get a hold of me, we can give you a personal demo, answer any questions. So feel free to reach out anytime.